In this part of the lesson, we're going to take what you did by hand, doing HTML hand coding, and we're going to use Dreamweaver this time to create it. We're going to do a little bit more here. For one thing, we'll create a second page called index.html so that we can have two pages that link to each other. And we're going to just elaborate a little bit on the table cells as well. So I've got two files finished here already. I'll demonstrate them quickly and I'll show you how I built them. Let me just go up to Preview in Firefox. And I've got my index page, index.html. And it's got the title here using a heading 1 tag and a line of text using a link to the other page called basic_html.html. And on this page we've got an image near the top, then an example of a heading 1 tag, a heading 2 tag, an example of a paragraph tag, an example of an ordered list with 3 items in the list. It's invisible, but we do have an anchor on the page at this point, which we will link to. And then in the following sentence, we have an example of a word using the strong tag to make it look bold. And in the next sentence, we have an example of a word using the italic tag to make a word italicized. Then below that we have a line of text with a word which is a hyperlink back to our index page, as well as an image, and this image is also a hyperlink back to our index page. Right here is the link to the anchor, which I can demonstrate. And at the bottom here we have a copyright symbol and a table with 4 columns and 3 rows and 2 elements that I'll introduce you to called column spans, where we can unite and combine various table cells so that we're not stuck with that strict grid pattern inside of tables. You'll also notice some of them have text inside of them, as well as background colors on the unique individual table cells. So this is what we're going to build, but we're going to use Dreamweaver, and you will see how quick and easy it is to build such a page. Let me go back to Dreamweaver now. Okay, I'm just going to keep my index page as is. I've described it to you. My basic HTML page, I'll create a new one here. So I'll just go File, New. And of course, this is assuming that you've already set up your website using the Files panel. I'm just going to use a basic HTML type and click Create. Right away, I'm going to save it. I'll go File, Save As. And I want to make sure I save it in that same root directory. And I'll call this HTML underscore basic 2, since I did one already. And I'll click Save. One thing I can do right away is give my page a title up at the top here. So I'm just going to call it Basic HTML and hit my Tab key. And then I can start. Now I'm currently in split view. I could go to code view if I wanted to. And you can see the basic code, which is input on our behalf when we start a new page. You can see the head section up here and the empty body tags here, surrounded by an HTML tag and a doc type declaration at the beginning. Now I can also go into pure design view and just click inside there and start to input things as well. I'm going to use split view, which will show us the code as well as the design view. Now in the code view I have a lot of options over here as to how it's viewed. If I turn off word wrap, you'll see that my tags look a little cleaner, but I can't see all of the content unless I scroll. So I'll turn word wrap back on. And I can also turn on and off the line numbers, but by default they are on. So I'm going to leave things at their default settings. I'm going to start right here with my insertion point on the page. And I think I'm going to bring an image in immediately. Now we have these insert icons up here with the various tabs. We're going to stick to the common tab, and we have one for images. So I'm just going to click on that. And I have an image in my folder called Cookies Where to Buy. It looks like a banner, so I'm going to use that for the top. Cookies Where to Buy. You can see the URL right here. It's inside an images folder. I click open. I will use alternate text. I will call it banner and go OK. Now if I click away, I can scroll and see it because it's a large image. I also have the ability in my design view using Control plus and minus on the PC or Command plus and minus on the Mac to zoom in and out of my page. But this is the actual size at 100%. I can do it down here as well and use percentages. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that item again, and I'm actually going to use my right arrow key to go to the right hand side and then hit my return key to input something on the next line. And I'm just going to use the word heading 1. Highlight it by dragging it across. Go down to my properties, make sure I'm on the HTML tab, and under format I will choose heading 1. And you can see that it's taken on that tag. If you look in the code view, there it is right there. I'm going to click on the right hand side and hit my return key again and type in heading 2. Highlight it and then set it in my formatting, heading 2. Then I'm going to return again, and I'm just going to type in the word paragraph and maybe a few other nonsensical words using my space bar and some letters. Okay, let's assume that's a paragraph. Now here's the thing with paragraphs. Because I used my return key, anything I type after hitting my return key is automatically surrounded by p tags, which are the paragraph tags. Now if that wasn't the case, if for some reason they weren't surrounded, you could highlight the text and go to your format and choose paragraph. But once again, once you hit your return key in your design view and initiate text, it does automatically place them in a paragraph. Okay? So let me go to the next line now. Actually, you know what? There's a little asterisk beside the word, beside the title, which means my file has not been saved up until the most recent change. So I think I'm just going to go File, Save, to be prudent here. The next thing I'm going to create is an ordered list with 3 lines. So I'm just going to type in the lines at first and hit my return key for each line. So I'll call this item, actually I'll call it line item 1, 0, 1, hit my return key, and it does create paragraphs, but just live with that for now. And you'll see how we can create a nice ordered list. Line item 02, return, line item 03, return. So I've really got 3 paragraphs right now. The way I can make an ordered list is to highlight those 3 paragraphs, and through my properties I can convert that to a list. So let me just highlight these now. Now over here we have our lists buttons, if you will. Ordered list, unordered list. So I want it to be ordered. In other words, it'll have a number at the beginning of the line. I just have to click this, and if you look in my code view, you can see it also in the design view. I've got an ordered list. There's the tag for the ordered list. Here's the tag for the unique lines, closing tags of course, and closing tag for the ordered list. Now here's the cool thing in design view if I want to add to this list. I put my insert after the last item on the list. If I hit my return key, it actually adds another line automatically. And you can see in my design view it's waiting to be typed into, but I've got my tags. And I'll just type in line item 04. Now to get out of this, I just have to hit my return key twice. Boom, boom. And you saw it created a 5, but then when I hit my return key, it deleted it. I'm going to save my file again. So that's the ordered list. Now I'm going to create a sentence and take one of the words and make it bold. This line has a bold word in it. Alright, so how do I make it bold? I can double click on the word and simply go down to the B icon representing bold and do that. And you can see it's surrounded by strong tags. I'm going to actually copy that sentence and then hit return and paste it on the next line. I'm going to take this word. To make it normal again, I just have to hit the button one more time to undo it. I'm going to take that word and replace it with the word italic and highlight it by double clicking and just choose the italic icon. And again, if I wanted to remove it, I just hit the icon again. Okay, return to the next line and save. The next line, I'm going to create a hypertext link to my index.html page. I'll say link to index. I'll make the whole line the link, so highlight the whole line, and under link I can either type in or search for. If it's not created yet, I would type it in, but if it already exists, it's probably more prudent than to go to the browse for file icon and just find it, highlight it, and click open. And save again. So now I've got a link. I just hit my return key, and I will bring in another image, and then I'll turn that image into a link. So I'm going to go back up to this icon right here. I'm already at my images folder. I'll grab cookie1.jpg. I'll call it cookie. Click OK, and it inserted it just below. And to make that a link, I simply highlight it, and in the link box, again, I browse for file to where I want to link it to. Then I will save that. I'm going to go just below here and create a link. Actually, I'll do two things. I'll create an anchor point towards the top of the page, then I'll create a link to it. I meant to do this a little earlier, but let me just go below the paragraph here. And I'll actually type in the words anchor point right here. And then to the left of it, I'll highlight, or I'll insert my cursor. And I'll go up to this icon, which looks like an anchor, called named anchor. And I'll name it middle of page. Okay. Now when I want to link, I can link to that spot on the page. So I'm just going to highlight this, hit my right arrow key, hit my return key, and I'll just write link to anchor. And I'll actually just highlight the word anchor. And I can link to it with this little point to file. I can actually point to the anchor, which gives me the number symbol and the name of the anchor. And that's how you represent an anchor when you link to it. So you've seen two ways that we can link to things from the Properties panel. Again, let me save my file, hit my return key, and create a copyright symbol. Because I hit my return key, I've got a paragraph right here being held by a non-breaking space, which is the and symbol. Now to do a copyright symbol, it's the and the word copy. I know on the Mac it's Option G. I'm afraid I don't know the keyboard command for the PC. And there you have it. This works on all platforms, of course, and copy, semicolon, and that creates what's known as a copyright symbol. I'm going to hit my return key. This time I'm going to insert a table, and we're going to do a little bit of manipulation of the table. Up here again, where I inserted an image, just 2 to the left is my insert table icon. And I'm going to put in 4 rows, or rather 3 rows and 4 columns. For now, I will set the table width to 200 pixels with a border thickness of 1 pixel. I'm going to show you how you can manually change that once it's on the page. Click OK. And there is my table. Now you can see we've got anchor points. I can drag this around and I can resize it manually like that. I can actually grab the table cells and move those around as well. And so on. So I'm just going to put some words inside of some of these. I'm going to just put the word 1. I can hit my tab key to advance. 2, 3, 5, 6. I can't type well, but I do edit. Tab 7. And I'll leave that for now. Just click outside and save again. Now I'm going to show you how you can color the backgrounds of these, and also show you how to do what's called spanning. Because if you look at the table cell, the table with the table cells, it breaks down into a rigid grid. Now I want to manipulate some of these cells and actually combine them, and that's known as a span. I'm going to start with a row span by clicking inside a table cell and dragging across to highlight the table cells I wish to combine. I start by highlighting them, so I've got these 3. If I go down to my properties under HTML, under cell, I've got this merge selected cells icon. I click it. Now these 3 cells have been turned into one very wide cell, and I'm going to call that row span. And again, I will correct my spelling. Here we go. I'm going to do the same thing over here with a column. So I drag downwards and I connect them using the merge icon. And this one I will call column span. Now, you'll notice that in the column span, my text appears very centered on the vertical. If I want to push that to the top or the bottom, with my cursor anywhere inside the table cell, I can go to the properties under vertical formatting and switch how the content will flow in there. And I can do that in any of these. If I click over here, I can go horizontal, right, and so on and so forth. Now the other thing I can do inside of these table cells, if I click inside of them, is that I also have an option to change the background color in my HTML properties. And it's as simple as that, really. And if I wanted, again, to manipulate these by hand, I can do it. No problem. So I'd like you to create this page using Dreamweaver and create an index page that will link back to it. So again, you highlight the index and you just put in the link here, or you search for the link. So I'll link to my new page that I created. I will save it. I notice here I need to save this page as well. And I'll launch this page to test it. Preview in browser, Firefox. Click on this page, and there is the page I just created. And if I link to the anchor, it should advance me to the anchor point, which it did. It put the anchor point at the top here. If I scroll back up to the top, I say my image as a header, and my various formatting for text, my formatted ordered list, my formatted text, my links, my image as links, special characters, and table cells. Oh, something didn't happen here. Let me double check what's going on there. Well, this is what's going on. You can see here that I had not saved the file up until the last change. So what I saw in the browser was the file up until its most recent change. Simple fix. Just save that. Asterisk is gone, which means this page is now updated. I can go back to my browser. I can simply update it. And there we see the latest version of that page. Again, I want you to create one of these using the Dreamweaver interface and the Dreamweaver software, and have it link to a second page, which is actually your index home page. And this is your assignment.